So let me guess, you've chosen almond milk in your daily latte, cappuccino, flat white instead of cow milk because you've heard the benefits of almond milk or soy milk and reducing your intake of cow's milk. Congratulations, an absolutely amazing move. However, you may actually be doing harm, if not even more harm to your body without even knowing. And that is because of this additive that is added to plant-based milks. And I'm talking about carrageenan. That's right. It's an additive that's found in your plant-based milk that you may not be aware of. And that is what I'm going to be talking about in today's podcast. I'm going to go through what it is, where it is found, the health effects it has on your body, and then I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to avoid it. Let's get into it. It's Mondays with Mihaela. That's right, me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I absolutely love, and appreciate your support. For any of you who don't know me, my name is Mihaela. I'm a qualified naturopath, absolutely passionate about all things health, business, and overall success. And I run the Natural Health Podcast. And today you're listening to the Monday segment, Mondays with Mihaela, where I share health hacks to optimize your health. And that is exactly what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be talking about a hidden additive that is found in your food that you may not even be aware of. You may not even be aware of what effects it has on your health. And that is exactly what I'm here. I'm here to shed the light on these additives. I'm here to shed light so you can achieve your optimal health. And what am I talking about today? Today I'm talking about carrageenan. That is right. I probably don't know how to pronounce it. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Essentially, it's Carrageenan, carrageenan. And to tell you the truth, I actually put it in a little app over there that I've got running where I listen to how it's pronounced. And apparently it's pronounced Carrageenan. So that's how I'm going to say it throughout this whole podcast. So apologies if that's not how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm going to go with. So carrageenan is a common food additive extracted from red seaweed. So you're like, well, it's healthy. It's from seaweed. I know seaweed's good for me. It's natural, but there is so much controversy around that, and that's what I'm going to be going into detail about today. So for the past 4 decades, scientists have warned that the use of this carrageenan in food is not safe. Okay, animal studies have repeatedly shown that food-grade carrageenan causes gastrointestinal inflammation and higher rates of intestinal lesions, ulcerations, and even malignant tumors. That is crazy, just that little line right there, right? So the International Agency for Research on Cancer in 1982 identified sufficient evidence for the carcinogenicity of degraded carrageenan in animals to regard it as posing a carcinogenic risk to humans. Carrageenan is still used widely as a thickener, stabilizer, and texturizer in a variety of processed foods prevalent in the Western diet. So it's actually surprising because you can go into your cupboard, or if you have any food or package in front of you, turn it around. Does it have that in there? I'll be really interested because when I found all this out, I did that a while ago and I was shocked of how many things that are packaged have this in them. A little nerd like me, I go out to the shops and this is what I do for fun instead of, looking at what I want to buy. This is why my shopping takes a bit longer on a weekly basis, is because I grab the product and I look at it and I'm like, okay, this. Oh, look, it's got that in it. That's a no-go. So it's interesting once you get to a stage of knowing these names, knowing what it does to your body, you kind of want to stay away from them. So what I wanted to put in there is that since the late essentially, carrageenan is an additive used to thicken, emulsify, and preserve food and drinks. This is why it's so beneficial for the food industry. It's a natural ingredient that comes from red seaweed, also called Irish moss, which is important to know because if your ingredients doesn't have if it doesn't have Carrageenan in it, it may have Irish moss. It's exactly the same thing. So you'll often find, I'll go into where you'll be able to find it later through the podcast, but essentially in the late 1960s, there has been, so since then has been controversial surrounding the health effects of this additive. Some evidence suggests that it triggers inflammation, gastrointestinal ulceration, and then it damages your digestive system. And people have been petitioning for this product with Carrageenan in it to be labeled with warning or be removed entirely. So why would the food industry have it? What are the use for it? What are the two use for it? There's two main purposes used for it. Food additive number one, and the other one is conventional medicine. So food additive, let's talk about food additive. It adds no nutritional value or flavor to what it's added to, but its unique chemical structure makes it exceptionally useful as a binder. Okay, so it's really useful in a binder because I don't know about you, but if you buy like a chocolate milk or something, and sometimes it says shake before you use it. So if it says shake before you use it, it's more likely not to have this in there. If it doesn't say shake, then it has it in there. And sometimes you probably bought plant-based milk and you're like, ooh, why is this coming apart? You need to shake it. So this is the benefit of adding the collagen in the product, is you don't have to shake it because it emulsifies it together. This is why, okay? It thickens it together. And so the conventional medicine it's an active ingredient in solutions used to treat anything from coughs to intestinal problems, known to decrease pain and swelling. It also been reported that the acidity form is commonly used as a bulk laxative to treat Poptic ulcers, which is really, really interesting. But the reason why it's so controversial is the controversy lays because there's been limited human studies proving that this undergraded carcinogen endangers a serious threat. Until we know for sure, do we continue to consume these foods or not? That is my question. Until we know 100%, do we still go, oh yes, no worries, I will be your test lab rat. Please use me as a test lab. I know I don't want to be used as a lab rat. 100% I don't want to be. Do you want to be used as a lab test? I mean, we're going to go into a few studies which have proven that it is dangerous for animals. And why haven't they done it on human studies? I wonder, is it that dangerous that they don't want to use it on human studies, or they don't want to see what it does? That's an interesting point. So essentially, like I said to you earlier, at a first glance, it may seem that this additive is completely safe because it's derived from red seaweed, right? It's natural, correct? Yeah, but the bottom line is it causes inflammation and digestive issues. And even though more human studies are needed to completely understand its potential dangers, for now, my understanding is that it should be avoided, but I'll let you make the decision after this podcast. So essentially, the National Organic Standards Board voted in November 2016 to remove it from the list of substances allowed in a USDA organic food. However, the FDA, this is in America, still approves this ingredient as a food additive, and it's the same here in Australia and New Zealand, right? So where is this found? Where do we find it, right? So where do we find it? Dairy. We find it in whipped cream, chocolate milk, ice cream, sour cream. We find it in dairy alternatives. I bet you any of your almond milk that you have has it in there. Any of your soy milk, rice milk, hemp milk, soy desserts, so forth may have it in there. Okay? Please look at what you're using and does it have this additive in there. But just because I've labeled this as milk alternative the title doesn't mean that the meat eaters shouldn't be afraid, because it's found in meats, it's found in sliced turkey, prepared chicken, and so forth. It's also found in nutritional drinks like the protein shakes and things like that. It's found because it combines it together, right? It's prepared in cans, soup, broths, microwavable things. Anywhere that's packaged, check it out. Does it contain it? That is the question. So I've spoken a little bit about undergraded and degraded carcinogen. So I thought I'll just clear up what it is, right? Because the thing that's coming across is well, food presses are only using undergraded carcinogens, which is completely safe because most of the studies have been done on the degradable, right? So there are a few distinctive types of this, right, that differs in their chemical properties. But the most important distinction between degraded Carrageenan and undergraded Carrageenan is from a chemical standpoint, right? The difference of these two is the molecular weight in them two. From a practical standpoint, undergraded carrageenan is approved for the use in food, okay, products, while degradable carrageenan is not. So one is approved and the other one isn't. Do you see the confusion there now? But when you look at the ingredients list, it just says carrageenan on it. It doesn't say degraded or undergraded, right? However, what they've done is there's a study that suggests that there may be no difference between food grade, which is the undergraded, and degraded carrageenan, right? The degraded carrageenan is a carcinogenic that isn't approved. It's even used to induce inflammation in animal studies. So when they say inflammation, they may use this in animal studies, which is mind-blowing, right? But however, in recent decades, researchers concerned with the effects of carrageenan in diets have used ungraduated food-grade carrageenan, right? These studies point to harmful effects when the carrageenan manufacturer trades group tested 12 samples of food-grade carrageenan. So this is the approved one that's not carcinogenic apparently. It found every sample was considerably contaminated with degraded carrageenan, which is classified as a possible human carcinogenic by at least one of the testing laboratories. Food processors have an ethical obligation to their customers to take these test results seriously, right? Their claims that food-grade carrageenan is safe cannot be backed by recent scientific studies and other test results. So what this is saying is, even though they're saying they're using the safe type, this study has found that it's actually been combined and mixed in with the possible carcinogenic because, the classifications, the title is the same. It's carcinogenic. Sorry, it's not carcinogenic. It's called carrageenan. It doesn't have anything in front of it. It just says that's what it is, right? So labeling wise, they're doing the right thing, right? But legal and ethically wise, they're not. So this is where the issue also lays, right? But what effects does this have on your health? That is the question I'm going to answer today, right? So products with carrageenan, if that's even how you pronounce it, may be labeled as natural, but limited studies show that it may actually promote and cause inflammation, bloating, irritable bowel syndrome, glucose intolerance, colon cancer, and food allergies. That to me rings a bell, and that is a bit of a concern, right? Starting in the late 1960s, that's ages away, two researchers conducted a literature review of the science published since the late 1960s and raised concerns about the widespread use of carrageenan in the diet. The researcher wrote in the Journal of Cancer Detection and Prevention, undergraded carrageenan is still widely used throughout the world as a food additive. Its harmful effects in animals are almost certainly associated with its degradation during passages through the gastrointestinal tract. There is a need for extreme caution in the use of this product as a food additive in our diet. So this research person is saying to us that we should be concerned about it, but here we are just adding it into most of our foods because it's considered safe. So the unique chemical, so what does it actually do in our body and how does it do it, right? So there's a unique chemical structure of carrageenan. It triggers an innate immune response in the body, which recognizes it as a dangerous invader. And this immune response leads to inflammation. So it's kind of like let's say you're drinking the almond milk that every single day you're drinking the same almond milk that has this food additive in there. Your body is like, error, this is not something I can deal with. This is something external and it is a threat. So it rings the alarm bells and it calls the immune system to come in and check what's going on. And this essentially can cause inflammation. What happens to inflammation? Inflammation causes so many issues in our body, causes havoc in our body. It causes things like heart disease, diabetes, so forth. It's one of the precursors for it, right? So for individuals who consume carrageenan on a regular or daily basis, the inflammation will be prolonged and constant because you're not giving your body a break. You're not saying, hey, I'm not going to have it today or for 3 days. I'm only going to have it 1 day a week. You're having it every single day, which is a serious health concern since prolonged inflammation is a precursor to more serious diseases like I mentioned earlier. Okay, so in recent years, public-funded scientists have moved beyond animal studies, which repeatedly point to harm. So these animal studies are saying harmful, harmful, harmful. Then they decided to conduct studies using human cells cultures to identify the biological mechanisms which cause inflammation. So the thing here is it's not done on a human body, it's done on a cell. There's an issue there too, but let's look into it, right? So what they've done, so one of these mechanisms has been identified. One of the particular immune pathways activated by Carrageenan is similar to those activated by other natural poisons, such as pathogenic bacteria, including salmonella. We know what salmonella does to our body. How sick do we feel after we get food poisoning? Absolutely crazy. So this is saying that this additive that we might be having every single day may be causing a similar reaction within our cells as salmonella does, okay? In 2008, Dr. Carrageenan, the author of the 2001 Environmental Health Perspective Review, urged the Food and Drug Administration to prohibit the use of Carrageenan in food. The FDA, relying primarily on industry-funded research, yes, I said it, and failing to review additional studies published since 2008, denied the petition in 2012. Interesting, right? That's in America and FDA. So essentially, like I said, it causes inflammation in our body. The common food additive carrageenan is known to activate inflammation in mammalian tissue and stimulates both the canonical and non-canonical pathway of the NF-kappa B activation, which causes inflammation in our body and havoc in our body. The other thing that this food additive does is it causes glucose intolerance and insulin resistance, right? Researchers are exploring other ways in which Carrageenan is harmful. Scientists have recently found that contact with Carrageenan reduces the activity of certain enzymes in the human body, and a recent study exposing mice to this additive in drinking water showed impaired insulin action and profound glucose intolerance, which is precursor to diabetes. Exposure to low concentration of Carrageenan has produced glucose intolerance, insulin resistance, and impaired insulin signaling in mice. How many of us here in Australia, overseas, suffer or have insulin resistant issues or any metabolic or are going towards metabolic issues? And how much does that impact our whole body, our health? So why would I take this additive in there that potentially, I said potentially, can cause issues with my insulin and can lead to insulin resistance? But not only that, something that can actually cause harm to my gastrointestinal tract. From my mouth to my anus, it can cause issues in it. How important do I say is our gut microbe? Our gut microbe is so important for our health, but here I am going to take this additive that is going to harm my gastrointestinal tract. That makes absolutely no sense to me. So yes, these studies have been done on animals, and yes, these studies have been done only on cells, not on actual humans, right? But it has already been, a part of this has already been classified as a possible carcinogenic. So if someone says to me on a menu, let's say I'm eating out somewhere and goes, would you like, let's say the stir fry A, which is a possible carcinogenic, or would you like stir fry B, which is totally safe? I know what I would be choosing. I'll be choosing stir fry B, thank you very much. Why would I risk my body, risk my metabolism, risk my gastrointestinal tract, risk my cellular pathways, my cells, my enzymes, just for this additional thing, this additional additive? That doesn't even make it yummier. It doesn't even add any nutritional value to it. It doesn't literally do anything but just combines things together, and one way to avoid it is just not to have it in my food, which means I might have to shake a bottle of milk or something. Do you get what I'm saying? It just absolutely makes no sense to me, and this is why I wanted to share this with you, because it is a potential harmful substance that you may be exposed to every single day. Which leads me to, how can you avoid it? Okay. Number one is use alternatives such as GUAR gum. Okay, other gums used as stabilizers and thickener agents do not share the unique chemical structure of Carrageenan. and therefore do not raise the same health concerns, right? So this is a bit of an old study, but in 1988, Food and Drug Administration research compared damage to the colon in rats given Carrageenan and given GUAR gum as an alternative. The researcher found damage to the rats given Carrageenan, but no damage to the rats given GUAR gum in their diet. So get an almond milk or soy milk or hemp milk that has GUAR gum instead of Carrageenan or Carrageenan or whatever it is pronounced. So number 2, protect your health and read the labels, right? So the key here is read labels carefully, checking the ingredients list. Go grab something that you have that you're eating, check it out. Does it have it in there? It does. Wow, okay. Maybe I'm going to look for an alternative next time I'm in the food aisle. Next time I'm at the shops, I'm going to look for an alternative. Avoid, and the key there is also to avoid Irish moss, because they're becoming smart, because all of this press is coming out about this food additive. They're going to be labeling it as Irish moss, which is true because that's also another name for it. Okay, number 3 is make your own alternative plant-based milk. Easy, right? Easy to make. You want to make almonds, put almond milk. If you want a bit of, you can put a bit of sweetener in it if you wish, and that's it. That's literally as easy as you can. You can be creative and add herbs and spices and all these things into it to make it yummier and stuff. But essentially, it's just the nut and filtered water, and then you strain it through. Okay, don't waste the leftover because you can make yummy cakes with it. Easy, boom, done. Number 4, if you wish, contact companies and ask them to remove this additive from your favorite product. If you absolutely love a product, can't give it up, give them a call, talk to them. It doesn't hurt. Give them a call, be like, hey, I'm really not happy with this. You're using this because you actually may be doing harm to my gastrointestinal tract. And see what happens, right? Tell them that you no longer will buy the product unless they remove it. They want to make money. They want to keep you happy. So you calling them, you opening up and expressing your concerns may actually be beneficial. Number 5 is share this information with your loved ones, because they're the ones that may be having Carrageenan every single day without even knowing. And then by you sharing this information, it might open their eyes and they'll be like, wow, I have this every single day. I have the bloating. I have peptic ulcers. I have got issues with my stomach and digestion. And then they remove it and oh my gosh, all of a sudden they become better and you have changed their life, right? So there are some ways that you're able to assist with avoiding Carrageenan in your diet. Give it a try, see if there's any benefits to it. What you can do is just go on a Carrageenan-free diet for about a week, 2-3 weeks, and see if it does any difference to you. If you've dramatically reduced bloating, you've dramatically reduced gastrointestinal issues, wow, that is amazing. That may have been the cause of your health issues. And essentially the thing is I choose to avoid foods that have questionable adverse effects, and Carrageenan fits this description. Therefore, I will not be having this in my diet. If I sometimes have it because I didn't read the label, that is okay. I believe my body will be able to deal with it. But on an everyday basis, I say no. I choose not to have this additive in my diet, because even though there's so-called no human evidence showing that it's dangerous, I don't want to be the evidence. That is my key. I don't want to be the evidence. I don't want to have its potential harmful effects on me later on during the years. So there you have it. If you know someone who would benefit from this episode, please share this episode with them. Feel free to share this information. Do what you do best. Love, like, share, rate, review the Natural Health Podcast. Until next Monday, love you.